Hi, is anybody there? I'm a few minutes early. Good day, sir. Thanks for joining in. Just gonna wait a couple minutes because we have a couple minutes before 10. Grab a coffee. I'll be right back. It's a beautiful day out there. I hope that you guys get to enjoy some sunshine after our presentation here this morning. Go for a run or a walk or just simply be outside and get some vitamin D. It would be great. Have a drink of water. All right, so we're going to get started. My name is Ginette Boudreau. I am the health promotion specialist here at 14 Wing Greenwood. I've been in the position here for a couple years now. I was fitness and sports before, so a variety in my background. The information that I'm going to talk to you about today belongs to strengthening of the forces, military. It's military D&D information. So this is not meant for you to teach to other people or to distribute for your own business or something like that. So just keep that in mind that this is military material. So we're going to talk about nutrition today. There's all kinds of stuff out there that kind of confuses us on what we should be eating, what we should not be eating, when, why, where, all this stuff. So I'm going to talk to you about pretty much the fundamentals of eating and talk about the essential nutrients that we need for our body to function. For performance, whether it's performance within a sport or a performance at our work, mental performance or physical performance, nutrition does have an impact, does affect our performance. And then we will talk also about eating mindfully. Today's world, we are so busy, well, maybe not so much now, but we're so busy with the kids, with work, with activities, and fast foods out there are out there to help us make life easier. But really, do they really care about our health, or do they want our money? Wait, think about that when you go to McDonald's or Tim Hortons or KFC or any fast food chain or any restaurant for that matter. They cook for taste. They want you to come back. They like the flavors, which often has high fat, high salt content, and sugar. And we don't even realize how much is in there. So we're going to talk about nutrition. So healthy eating is about having a balance. So the Canadian Food Guide does a really good job at providing balance for you. You can sit there if you want and calculate every calorie, fat, protein, carbohydrates that you have, or you can kind of use the guideline the Canadian Food Guideline as a guideline. It's kind of laid out for you rather than counting is laid out in food groups. It's based on a 2,000 caloric diet, which most of us is on. If those who are not are those on a 2,000 calorie diet are those who are extremely active. They're training for triathlons, marathons, Ironman, They're working in the woods, search and rescue and stuff like that. Those are extreme. They're very active people. Then you have the people who sit at a desk all day and sit at home and watch TV all day, and they can barely get 5,000 steps in, right? So these people are from one extreme to another, but the average person needs about 2,000 calories a day, okay? And by consuming those 2,000 calories, we should be aiming at eating a variety, a balance, taking our time. It's not just about food. It's about enjoying it. It's about cooking, having a healthy relationship with food, right? How often do we hear we have a love-hate relationship with food? It should not be that way. It should always be a love relationship with food, okay? We need food to survive. We need food to function, right? But that love-hate relationship can sometimes play a mental factor into our brain, because we think that we should be looking a certain way or acting a certain way as per society. To be healthy, you don't need to be skinny, right? A lot of people, social media, TV, Hollywood, they all promote the skinny feature, the six-pack, which is all nice. There's nothing wrong with that. Fantastic. Power to you. But you got to do it right, okay? Without the eating disorders, okay? A lot of times people have eating disorders to get that perfect body kind of thing. So, but providing a balanced diet and eating in portions, which I'm going to talk about later, we're calling it portion distortion nowadays, you're going to be healthy. And if you exercise regularly, you'll be healthy as well. It kind of all plays in together. Notice when you're hungry and when you're full. How many times do we kind of go out, it's 12 o'clock, I got to eat my lunch. You may not even be hungry, but you're still eating because it's 12 o'clock kind of thing. Or if you grew up in the generation where your parents said, clean up your plate, right? You are not leaving the supper table until you finish your food, right? It's okay to leave food on your plate. It's okay. Cook often. Cook often. Try to make plans to cook often. Find some recipes out there. Online has multiple recipes out there to help you, right? Make healthier choices. When you're cooking, you can monitor what spices, what sugar, what salt you put in, right? Plan ahead. Plan some meals with some virtual meals with your friends and your family, a fondue or something like that, where you can kind of put the computer aside and have a meal with your family virtually, right? Have some fun. Culture and traditions are part of healthy eating, right? So ravish in the culture of food that you enjoy. Try different foods, right? And when I say by cooking, it's not going to the grocery store and grabbing a box of frozen food and putting it in the oven. No, it's following a recipe, okay? So that's kind of what healthy eating is all about. It's about taking your time, really enjoying what you're eating, a balance, right? Protein, carbohydrates, fats, fruits and vegetables, all within moderation. Planning ahead, right? And avoiding distractions, which I'll get into in a bit. So your everyday eating is a foundation for your top performance, okay? Your everyday eating has more of an impact on how you perform than your supplements or what you do before and after during your sports, okay? Your foundation makes up of 75% of what you eat. So if you are one of those people that goes and eats out McDonald's or KFC every day, but then you have a competition coming on and then you start kind of reining in the nutritious foods and you start cooking, you're not going to be performing to your top as much as if you would be if you'd be eating healthy every day. Okay. So some example of healthy eating would be lean meats. Your chicken, your beef can be lean if you take all the gristle out off the sides. It's fish. Right? It's pasta, it's rice, it's oatmeal, it's quinoa, it's bulgur. And I'm not talking the white rice, I'm talking brown rice. Then you have your low fat milk alternatives, which are some skim milk, 1% milk, some soy milk, yogurt, rice milk, and stuff like that. And then we have our nuts, our seeds, our legumes, and our healthy fats and oils such as olive oil, canola oil, nut oil, seeds oils. Those are the things that you want to be incorporating in your everyday eating, right? In everyday eating. So when you go to the Canadian Food Guide, it will tell you, you'll see that the dairy product is now lumped into the protein product. It no longer has its own food source, I guess. So it's kind of lumped into there. So it's very important. 75% of your performance comes from your daily foundation. Just remember that. Okay. So when you're looking at your foundation and what kind of foods you should be eating, you're going to be choosing vegetables that are fresh and bright in color, I guess, bright in color. Orange, dark greens. You want to be incorporating the peels on your fruits. Those are full of fiber. Today's society, we lack in our fiber, right? Our fiber stripped from our food so we can enjoy the textures a little bit better, right? Which is causing stomach discomfort and gastro issues. So get some fiber into your body. If you're not one to eat fiber, there's also Metamucil out there, such of stuff out there that can help. But the best thing is to eat the fiber rather than going to a supplement. Garlic, root vegetables, beets, cabbage, cauliflowers, bananas, apples. Those are all great things. They don't always have to be fresh. Your vegetables can be frozen, canned, or fresh. Frozen has just as many nutrients as the fresh ones, but with the can, just be careful with the salt. Okay, they can have high salt. Nutrients are still there, but because they're canned and they're made to last longer on a shelf life, you have to watch your salt portion. Okay, and go for protein foods that are not processed. Okay, so for your lean meats, your 100% nut butters, your eggs, okay, your dried foods. But try to avoid your bacon. Not avoid, but limit. Really limit. There's a time and place to have your saturated foods and stuff like that. But it's limit your bacon, limit your hot dogs, your sausages and stuff like that, your sandwich meats. Those are all processed meats, which have high fat, high salt, and they're not as nutrient dense as your regular protein. All right. Then, what you eat and drink before, during, and after exercise plays an important role as well. Not as important as your everyday foundation, but it will make up of 24 to 25% of what you eat will affect your performance before, during, and after. Okay. So what you eat before your workout will impact your performance, and how you recover will also impact your recovery and your performance again. Okay. So some examples to have on hand, when you're exercising and you don't have a salad at the gym, for example, or if you're running in the trails, you're not going to have a salad eating out. So things that you can have that are easy to carry and that won't spoil. Granola bars, soft drinks, some bagels and stuff like that are all great for energy during exercise, before and during. Okay. So that can make up of 24, you can increase your performance to 24 to 25% by eating properly before, during, and after. And then we're going to go to the supplements. Okay, so supplements is a multi-billion-dollar business. And it's exactly what it is. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. Sports supplements have questionable or minimal benefits. Maybe 1% increase in your performance, maybe. There's nothing that you can't get from food that a supplement will give you. Okay, except for vitamin D. But these supplements I'm not talking about vitamin D. I'm talking about your energy drinks. I'm talking about your energy bars, your gels, your everything, your monsters and stuff like that. If anything, it could actually detriment your performance. Okay, so supplements also can include caffeine or coffee. How many of us have this multiple times a day? Coffee in moderation is fine, but sometimes we depend on it too much. Our protein powders, our glucosamine, right? So these are all things that are not really proven to help. And it's very individual if it does help. If you have any questions about supplements or anything like that, give me a shout. I have a presentation that I can talk about as well. But I'm not going to go any further into the supplements for now. So our foundation should include 6 essential nutrients. Okay, our classes of nutrients. Some of you may have heard about them before, and some of them may have not. But your 6 classes are your water, your carbohydrate, your protein. Those are your macronutrients, and then your fats, and then your micronutrients are your vitamins and your minerals. These are all things that our body is not able to produce, and therefore we need to consume it in order to be able to, our body to use it, to have it, right? Water is listed first because it is we call it the forgotten nutrient. We could forget how important water is. Do you know how much percentage your body is made out of water? 60%. Your body, from head to toe, is made up of 60% water. Impressive, isn't it? So when you think of it, if we're not drinking our water, we should be drinking how many liters of water per day? 2 liters, right? That's without sweating water out. And how many of us say that's impossible to drink, right? But we can drink our coffee. We can have 7 or 8 glasses of wine on occasion sometimes. Why aren't we able to drink our water? So the best way for you to drink your water is to carry a water bottle with you, have a glass of water, right? Cheers. We'll have a drink. And did you know that when you're dehydrated, the sign of being thirsty, when you're thirsty, it's a sign that you're already dehydrated. Okay? And when you're dehydrated, that can decrease your performance by up to 20%. Let that sink in for a minute. Dehydration alone can affect your performance by 20%. That's something that you can easily manage. Drink some water, prevent dehydration. If you're training in an area that's hot, you're going to need to drink more water compared to versus in an arena, for example. But if you're sweating and you're in an altitude, okay, so water is going to be important. Some people sweat at a different rate than others. So the more you sweat, the more you drink, kind of thing. And the way you can tell is how much you've lost fluids during a workout is weigh yourself before your workout and then weigh yourself after. And then you'll be able to see how many kilograms you've lost, and you times that by 1.5 liters. Okay. Then what else do we got here? Fat. Fat is important. I'm going to get into that a bit more in a bit. But for a while there, we went through a phase where fat was bad. No fat. People were eliminating fat completely, which our body needs fat. It's an essential nutrient, okay? But we need the right kind of fat. And I'm going to talk about that. So our macronutrients, we have carbohydrates, okay? So carbohydrates are your main source of fuel for the body. When your body needs energy, carbohydrate is the first thing it goes to, right? So it provides your body with energy. Carbohydrates also regulate your blood glucose. And the carbohydrates can be divided into simple and complex. Simple carbohydrates are things that are food that are broken down really quickly and turned into sugars right off the bat if they're not used for energy. So your candies, your juices, stuff like that. Then you have your complex carbohydrates, which takes longer to digest. Right? And it gets digested and other parts of the food gets distributed through the body for nutrients before it gets turned into sugar, kind of thing. Your complex carbs would be your breads, your pastas, your bulgur, your quinoa, that kind of thing, your whole grain. Then you have your protein, which is a macronutrients, part of the essential nutrients that we need to eat for our body. And protein provides, is essential for building muscle, repairing tissue, strengthening our muscles, and for rebuilding, right? So after an injury or after an intense workout, the protein that you consume is what's helping repair and recover. In your fat also provides your body's energy, but there always needs to be glucose involved for your fat to be used as energy. Okay. It supports cell growth. Okay. At a cellular level, fats help us at a cellular level, protects our organs and keeps your body warm. Right. Assist the bodies in absorbing some nutrients and some product hormones. So there are some vitamins that are fat soluble and water soluble, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit in a minute. And there are different types of fats. You have your saturated fats, your unsaturated fats, and your trans fats. So I'll talk about which ones we want to be going for. Do you know which ones are the good fats and what are the bad fats? Let you think about it before I tell you the answer. Okay. So, and for fluids, not only for preventing dehydration, but it regulates our body temperature, it lubricates our joints, prevents infections, delivers nutrients to the cells. So the electrical activity within our cells is more fluid when we are hydrated. It helps with the organ functions and to kind of help get rid of toxics, and improve sleep quality, cognition, and mood. Hi, Matt. Thanks for checking in. So signs of dehydration is decreased frequency of urination, rapid heart rate. So if you know that your heart rate is going up a little bit, there could be a sign of dehydration. Prolonged muscle soreness. That's huge, right? As a fitness instructor, I don't know how many times people would come to me, Ginette, I'm so sore after the workout. Is it safe to work out today? Right? It could have been 48 hours after. Drink your water. It will help release with that recovery. You're tired. If you're always tired, if you have no energy, muscle cramps, muscle spasms, they're all signs of dehydration. And your dark, yellow, strong smelling urine, again, that's a clear example. Not so clear, but it's a good example. Okay. So for your fruits and vegetables, let's go for that. Have more often, instead of your canned fruits and your canned fruits and vegetables, go for your fresh or frozen. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, your canned vegetables and fruit can have high sugar and high salt. Okay, so if you're watching your salt intake, as we all should be, just pay attention that you're not eating a canned food every day. Juices. Okay, so we should try to avoid drinking juice. Juice is high in sugar. I know we give our kids juices all the time. If that's a must, try diluting it with water a little bit. Juices are high in sugar and they don't have the fiber like your regular fruit does, right? So eat your fruit. Eat your fresh fruit or your frozen fruit instead of going for the juices. If you love French fries, okay, you're a French fry person, you love him, but instead of going for those French fries, go for that big potato, okay, or boiled or roasted. Go for the potatoes instead, okay? Stop the deep frying, away from the deep frying as much as possible. That just adds so much more fat into your diet. It's ridiculous how crazy the fat content increases, and we don't really realize it, okay? Sometimes we get so it's in a trend and we don't really care about what we're eating and we don't realize how many calories, salt, fat, everything is in it. And all of a sudden you're eating 500, 1,000, 2,000 calories more than your 2,000 calorie intake. Okay. If you're one for liking sauces on your pastas and stuff, instead of the Alfredo creamy sauce, go for your tomato or your marinara pesto sauces with the oils. Try to avoid the creamy dressings and stuff like that. Okay. And challenge yourself. Go make sure that you make it a goal, a priority, to eat 1 dark green vegetables and 1 orange vegetable a day in fruit. Okay? See if you can manage that. Grain products. Okay? So grain products, carbohydrates, grains. There's so much talk about grains. People, do we eat them? Do we not? Do we eat? Do we not? They're bad, they're good, they're bad, they're good. Like, there's so much information out there that could send anybody off spiral. I don't know what to do, right? Confuse everybody. But grain products are important. Like I mentioned, it's the main energy source for your body. When your body's looking for energy, it's looking for carbohydrates first. But it's looking for the healthy carbohydrates. Out of a 2,000 calorie diet, or any diet, I guess, your grains should consume 45 to 65% of your total calories. That's a lot. But we're not talking about your sugars and stuff like that. We're talking about your quinoa, your bulgur, your brown rice, and stuff like that. Okay? And grains that are low in fat. Okay? So instead of going for your pastries, your donuts, and your croissants, right, that we all love, it's okay once in a while, but not every day. Go for your whole grain or your whole wheat bagels. Go for your whole wheat bread, your 12 grain, 14 grain, ancient grain, right? Your rye, any of that stuff. Instead of white bread, go for your whole greens again, your whites, your white rice. Making the switch from a white rice to a brown rice or a wild rice, barley, oats, quinoa. Those are the grains that you want. Why? I'm going to explain to you why we want to try to veer away from the white products. As you're reading the labels, you may say, but the white products have less fat, less sugar, and less calories, but they have less nutrients. Therefore, it gets turned into sugar faster, right? And then your body is missing the nutrients that it's looking for. Could be causing more cravings. Sugar-filled cereals. So when I first got trained into this, it really opened my eyes on how bad cereal really is for you. Even when you think you're choosing a good cereal for your kids or yourself, there's still a lot of sugar in the cereals. Anything that tastes good in cereal has sugar in it. So what we found as for healthy sugars, healthy cereals are your plain cornflakes, right? And then you have your all brand cereal. Those are the best cereals out there. Anything, even your multigrain Cheerios, your Honey Nut Cheerios, your almond clusters, whatever, they're all full of sugars. Okay? Next time you go to the grocery store, take some time and check it out to see what it is. It's crazy. So you want to go for oatmeal, low sugar, high fiber cereal. So something that's considered high fiber would be 4 grams of fiber or more, and low sugar would be, I believe, 5 grams of sugar or less. It's and when you look at your cereal boxes, it's a lot more. Anyways, we'll touch into that a little bit more further on. Okay, so your whole grain versus your white grain. So your whole grain has the bran, the endosperm, and the germ. The bran is a fiber-rich outer layer that protects the seed from and contains vitamin B and traces of minerals. Your endosperm is the middle layer that contains the carbohydrates along with the proteins. And then your germ is the small nutrient rich that contains antioxidants, including vitamin E, B, and they also have healthy fats. So that's all included in your whole grain, grain rice or grain whatever. When you look at the white grain, the only thing that it contains is your endosperm, which is the carbohydrates and some protein. You don't have any of the antioxidants, and you don't have any of the vitamins. So you're stripping yourself out of nutrients, right? So you're thinking, if you're one of those people that says, I cannot eat brown bread, I cannot eat whole wheat, I cannot eat brown rice, a simple thing that you can try to do it may be a little bit of work at first, but if you really want to try to make that switch within your family meals or your own meals, is try cooking half your rice, half brown and half white. Mix it together and slowly make that conversion until it's completely brown rice or wild rice. For example, the same thing with your bread. Have one white bread and one multigrain until you can kind of make the switch over. Okay, just a little tip. Meats and alternatives. Okay, so instead of having your sausages, your hot dogs, your processed meat, go for your lean meats and alternatives, right? Your lean meats, do you remember what they are? Your chicken, your fish, okay? Even some pork, as long as you're not eating the fat, and even the beef, if you're cutting the fat, trimming the fat all around it, okay? Always eat meat, your lentils, tofu, right? Fish, herring, salmon, mackerels, okay? There should be more and more often. So try to challenge yourself if you can make a meatless day out of the week. We call it Meatless Monday, for example, where you don't eat meat for that day. You get your protein source through your legumes and your nuts. Okay? Give it a try, right? And then when you're cooking, you also want to remove like the skin, like your chicken skin, for example, stuff like that. Moving on to your fats and oils. So we have our healthy fats, which are polysaturated fats and monosaturated fats. Those are the healthy fats that you want to include in your diet. You don't need much, okay? You don't need much. Unhealthy fats are your saturated fats and your trans fats, okay? So your saturated fats would be the fats in your candy, your pastries, your lard and all that stuff. And then your trans fat as well. Trans fat actually is being eliminated off the grocery shelves in Canada. I believe they had till 2021 to stop. The production is stopped. They are allowed to use what they already have on their shelves. But from now on, companies are not allowed to use trans fat. Trans fat is the worst kind of fat for you, okay? It causes heart disease, diabetes, coronary disease, stroke, whatever. It's the worst kind of fat for you. So if you are a person that loves trans fats and you're finding yourself eating trans fat, you're going to want to try to think about changing that up. Go for your poly and your monosaturated fats. And for your fats, they should be taking up 20 to 35% of your calories for your 20 to 35% should be fat from your diet, okay? So your saturated fats, like I mentioned, is meat, butter, dairy products, solid at room temperature. Think of it like this. Anything at solid room temperature and that can go to liquid when it's warmed up and then goes back to solid when it cools off, think of that in your arteries. Think of that melted butter in that popcorn that hardens, right? Think of it as hardening your arteries that way. It's building up and narrowing your artery wall, okay? Which is making it harder to breathe, to exercise, and putting you at risk for heart attack and stroke, right? It also increases your bad cholesterol, low density lipoprotein, LDL, okay? Which clogs the arteries. Okay, so stay away from your saturated fats. Your unsaturated fats are liquid at room temperature. Okay, they're liquid at all times. Increases the good cholesterol, your high density lipoprotein. That's what we want. We want the high density lipoprotein. Okay, high density lipoprotein grabs the bad cholesterol, the bad LDL, and takes it to the liver, where it's broken down and then removed from the body. Okay, we want high HDL. And then your trans fat. Okay, that's again the worst fat for you. Trans fat increases your low density lipoprotein, your bad cholesterol, and decreases your good cholesterol. So that's a double whammy negative right there. Natural in some sources of food and dairy meat. Okay, so some of it's natural. We can't do anything about that except for trim it off. And and like I said, it's no longer in the shelves in Canada, and they are allowed to use up what they already have, but then there's no more being made. Okay, so 20 to 35% of your diet should be coming from healthy fats, your monosaccharides and your polysaccharides. Okay. So instead of butter and hard margarine, go for your non-hydrogenated margarines, your olive oils, your canola, your soybean. Okay. Instead of lard or shortening, go for your non-hydrogenated margarines. Okay. Remember to include small amounts of healthy oils every day into your salad dressings and stuff like that. So instead of going for the creamy sauces again, go for the oily ones, right? So you're cutting back on your fat and you're getting essential nutrients, which is fantastic. And you're adding taste. You can change up your salads. I know sometimes when I eat salads, like at lunch or whatever, I get bored. I'm not going to lie. I get bored of a salad. So by switching up the dressing, at least it provides different flavor and a little bit of variety. Then we have our macronutrients. Okay. We have our vitamins and we have our minerals. Okay. Our vitamins provide energy production, helps immune function, and helps with blood clotting. Minerals help with growth, bone health, and fluid balance. Okay, so these are part of our micronutrients. So our body needs them, but don't need them as much as we do for our macronutrients, which are our fat, carbohydrates, and proteins. So as I mentioned earlier, we have two different types of vitamins, I guess, or not vitamins, but we have water-soluble vitamins and we have fat-soluble vitamins, okay? Do you know what the difference is? A lot of people don't, right? Your water-soluble vitamins are vitamin B and vitamin C. They dissolve in water when consumed and they are carried to the body's tissue, but they are not stored in the body. So if you consume too much vitamin B and vitamin C, you're just going to pee it out. You're not going to store it. You can't get toxic, I guess, from consuming too many of those vitamins. Okay. Your fat soluble vitamins can only dissolve with fats and oils. So if you have eliminated all fats and oils out of your diet, your body is not able to absorb the fat soluble vitamins. So you're lacking nutrients. Excuse me. Fat soluble vitamins are vitamin A, D, E, and K. How am I going to remember that? Right? Fat soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. The way I remember it, fat soluble vitamins is every dinosaur eats kale. Those are your fat soluble vitamins. Hopefully you can remember that. Okay. So they are absorbed with the fats in the diets and into the bloodstream and can be stored into the body's fatty tissues. Okay. You can reach toxic levels, but require a really excessive high intake of these vitamins to become toxic. Okay. So in our micronutrients, calcium falls in there. Calcium is best known for prevention of osteoporosis, but it's also important for blood clotting, right? And normal nervous system functions. So not just for bone strength and health, it's also important for blood clotting. If you get injured and you know how your body heals itself, right? Also nervous system, okay, function, okay, motor control. So calcium is found best in dairy products, your milk, your cheese, your yogurts. It's also found in nuts, leafy green vegetables, fortified foods, and breakfast cereals. Vitamin D is important for the absorption of calcium, okay, from the stomach and for the function of calcium in the body. So when you're consuming calcium, you need to have vitamin D, right? And vitamin D is from the sun. Or you can take a supplement, right? Minerals. Minerals is needed for the formation of hemoglobins, which carries oxygen from our lungs to our body, right? So the minerals that I'm talking about is iron. A lot of us, especially women, have low iron, okay? So it's important that you make sure that you're eating nutrient foods that are high in iron. Examples would be meat, eggs, dark leafy greens and vegetables, legumes, whole grains, and enriched food products. So food products that have been have added iron into them, I guess. Potassium is needed for normal nervous system function, muscle contraction, and can have a large effect on your health. Potassium helps maintain your heart rhythm. Did you know that? Okay, so things that are rich in potassium would be fruits and vegetables, bananas and potatoes. How many of us don't eat potatoes because it's got a high or low GI index, or it's white or whatever? But potatoes do have nutrients in them. They're high in potassium. Legumes, milk, nuts, meats, okay? Those are all ways that you can get your potassium. So if you are a vegetarian, for example, this is something that you kind of have to watch as well, and your iron. Magnesium is necessary for biochemical functions, okay, that control many actions in your body, such as proper muscle contraction and nerve impulses, blood sugar control, regulation of blood pressure, and maintaining healthy, strong bones. You can find magnesium in nuts, seeds, whole grains, legumes, dark leafy vegetables, yogurt, salmon, bananas, and potatoes again, okay? So if you're looking to improve your health, a variety of these foods, are important. Not just the same type of meat, not the same meat, not the same vegetable, not the same fruit day after day after day, okay? You want to have, there's so many different benefits to different fruits and vegetables and meats that you want to have a variety, okay? And I can't explain to you every function it does because that's just over my head. That would be a dietitian question. So how much food do we really need? Right? Do you eat when you're hungry? How's your energy level? How active are you? Will all depend on how much food you need. Okay? So hunger is defined by a psychological need for food or energy. So when I say energy, our body uses food as a source of energy. Blood glucose level is dropping, and our bodies have a number of ways of telling us it's time to eat. When you feel hungry, when do you feel hungry? Do you feel hungry during the day? Do you feel hungry during at night? How long has it been since you last ate something? Right? Typically, most people are hungry after 4 hours within eating a meal. Typically. Everyone's different, right? But typically that's what's going on. An empty stomach or painful feeling in the abdominal may be early signs of hunger, right? Headache, fatigue, tiredness, stress are advanced signs. You've heard the word hangry before? It's a true thing. It does exist. Right, Maddie? Oh, whoops, wrong way. Okay. Think of your energy levels. How many of us at the 3 o'clock afternoon break were just fighting to stay awake, right? Just fighting to stay awake, right? That's your body telling you that you are lacking energy. You need food. And often we go for the wrong type of foods, right? With the little chocolates on our desk, for example. We should be going for more nutrients foods, right? If you're eating on a regular basis nutrient food, then you should not be reaching that crashing feeling and that fatigue by 3 o'clock, right? Are you eating? Are you sleeping, I mean, right? How's your sleeping? Your energy expenditure is different for everyone, and it will depend on your size, your exercise level, your age, your gender. There's a whole slew of factors. Okay. But in a general rule is we all have our resting energy expenditure. Okay. So that's the amount of energy our body needs and uses to function, just to be alive, just to breathe. And then we have that makes up of 55 to 70%. That's a lot. And then we have our thermic food effect. Have you ever noticed your body getting warmer after eating a meal, a large meal, right? That's the thermic food effect, the energy that's being created as the body's breaking down the food that you've just eaten. It creates energy and it rises your body temperature a little bit. So that makes up of 10%. And then we have physical activity, which is 15 to 30%. And that's our biggest range of how much food you should be eating. On days that you're training and you're working out 1, 2, 3 times a day, you're going to need to eat more food. On days that you're being a couch potato and you're watching Netflix all day long, you're not going to want to eat the same amount of food for that with the days that you're training. Okay, so you're going to have to monitor and pay attention to your activity levels. And often when we try to, I guess, when we're calculating how much food we're eating and how much energy we're using, we overestimate how much energy we're using and we underestimate how much food we've actually put into our bodies. Okay, so by actually measuring your food, that's going to be the best way for you to really gauge, especially if you're not finding yourself moving in the direction you want to go. You're not getting the results you want. So why do we eat? Yeah, why do we eat? We have eating cues. We have external cues and we have internal cues. Okay. External cues comes from triggers in our environment. Okay. Internal cues meaning it's something that's coming from the inside. So when we look at our physical environment, cues could be something like smelling fresh bread at the bakery, right? Or passing by your favorite restaurant and you can just smell the good food. You weren't hungry before that, and all of a sudden now you're like, what? I think I want a burger or whatever it may be, right? Or those commercials that just make everything so darn delicious, right? A bread basket. It could be simple as a bread basket sitting on the table. Okay? You're not hungry for bread, but because it's staring you in the eye, you're going to grab a piece, right? And then you have your social environment cues that are triggered by interacting with other people in situations that you may find yourself overeating more than you thought originally planned. Can you think of an example? Let's go to the mess for a drink. Okay, but then all of a sudden there's a plate of food on the table, right? And colleagues are saying, let's go, let's have some nachos, right? Or after a game of hockey or round of golf, you guys are accustomed to heading out for the clubhouse for some drinks and some munchies, right? Not saying not to do that, but maybe have one or the other, right? Or maybe have a glass of water once in a while rather than beer every time. And then our internal cues, okay? Our internal cues are further divided into 2 separate categories, I guess, areas. We have our psychological cues. This is our hunger pangs, right? You know, when your stomach's growling and you got stomach pains or stuff like that. That's your body's way of sending you a message that you need energy in the form of food. And then we have our emotional cues, and they are very different for everyone. Okay, so upon coming to this training and this class, this is where I am focusing my attention for my healthy eating, is recognizing my emotional cues. So they're different for everyone, like I mentioned, but these cues are a response to a feeling an individual may experience. These emotions include boredom, fatigue, anger, depression, anxiety, and loneliness. How many of us go to the fridge or go to the cupboard and we don't know why? Bored, lonely, stressed, right? So really tapping in and finding out why you're eating. Are you actually hungry? Do you have hunger pangs telling you need food? Or are you going through a depression? Are you sad? Are you lonely? Right? Are you looking for that comfort somewhere? So one thing you can ask yourself before you reach for that comfort food is keep the acronym HALT, HALT, in the back of your brain. And ask yourself, are you hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? Okay? And if you're angry, lonely, and tired, find another way to find the comfort. Don't go for the food. If you're hungry, go for it. Okay? Emotional eating can lead us to weight gain. Okay? So we're going for the comfort foods, right? Your high starchy carbohydrate, high fat, like your pizzas and your ice creams and your whatever, chocolates, chips, whatever it may be. And then when we're stressed out, we tend to drop the things that are important to us, like that keep our hardness, like our exercise, right? And then we tend to go to fast foods because we are too busy we're too stressed out to take the time to cook and to prepare. And like I said, fast foods are just typically have high fat, high salt. They're not nutrient dense. Okay. So by being stressed, it can lead to weight gain. And the physical effects of stress releases hormone, adrenaline, and cortisol when stress is on for so long, which slows the metabolism, which can cause weight gain, can increase cravings, and make you more susceptible to illness, right? So stress alone is a whole area that we can talk about. But just know that if you are stressed, and right now we are in a time of stress, we are out of our normal day-to-day functions. We're missing our family, we're missing our friends, we're missing our co-workers, we're missing our job, we're missing a lot of stuff, and we're stressed. Trying to work from home, teachers, doctors, nurses, mothers, daughters, parents, whatever it may be. We're trying to deal with it. So just try to manage your stress so that you can kind of bring yourself back together and manage your weight gain, okay? Or prevent weight gain, I guess I should say, not manage, okay? So, and nowadays, ways that you can lessen stress is to be active. So go outside. It's beautiful today. Be outside. Get some chores done. Go for a walk. Just anything. Do some yoga. Play with your dog. Anything it be. Listen to some upbeat or soothing music, if I can say that word, right? Take a long shower or bath. Try to get enough sleep. Talk about it with someone, whether it's a professional or a friend. Write it down. Get it off your chest, okay? And ask your health promotion staff about our stress take charge workshop. You have tips and techniques to help manage that. Okay. So we all like comfort food and we want comfort food and we all deserve comfort food, but what we choose could make a difference. Okay. So comfort food instead of chips and ice cream and stuff like that and chocolates, some things that may work for you would be fresh fruit, raw veggies, a baked tortilla and salsa instead of your chips, right? Air pop popcorn with no butter. You'll get used to it, I promise. Pretzels, cereal and milk, low-fat yogurt, hummus and pita. Those are all ways that you can kind of still have your comfort food without the negative effects. Stay in charge. Okay? Be in charge of your body. Be in charge of your emotions. Stay tuned to your hunger signals. Okay? No. Try to really pay attention to what your body's telling you. Right? Today we are so busy that nobody really pays attention to their hunger signals or not. Right? So pay attention to your cues. Pay attention to your body. Know your triggers. Look elsewhere for comfort. So trigger, right? Whether it's stress, whether it's that commercial, whether it's the smell, right? And know your triggers and make a plan to not give in to those triggers. Okay? Note how you're feeling when you're eating and how hungry you are. You may see a pattern developing, right? When you have these triggers happening. Portion size. Okay, so back in the 70s, our plates, I wasn't born in the 70s, but what I'm told is our plates and our bowls were a lot smaller. And even the foods at the restaurants were a lot smaller. And now everything is just becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And even when you think you're eating a portion controlled meal, it's still way too much. So I just want to give you a little example here. I have 2 different types of bowls in my house. Deal with the camera here. So I got this white bowl, and then I have this other bowl here. So when we say, let's get a bowl full, I'm just going to turn the camera down here. Let's get a bowl full. Okay. There's 2 different bowls here. One's a lot bigger than the other. I have my cornflakes. And it says for 1 serving is 1 cup. Okay. Or 29 grams, which is about the same serving at the Canadian Food Guide. So I already pre-measured my cup. This is what a cup looks like in here. Okay, so it looks decent. Nice bowl. Pretty accurate to what you would pull in. And then in this bowl kind of looks half empty. Right? So just be aware of what utensils and what cutlery and bowls you're using. So when I say a bowl full, I would probably eat double in this bowl than I would in this bowl. Okay. Same thing with your plates. I remember buying a set of plates when we first got our house. And the plates were so big that they wouldn't fit in my cupboard. Imagine that. So yeah. So tricks for that is to serve your meals on a smaller plate rather than the big plate. Or if you don't have a smaller plate, just use the middle inside of the plate rather than the edge. If you're at a restaurant, put half of a large restaurant meal into a takeout container before even eating. Okay, so the minute you get your food at a restaurant, cut it in half, ask for a takeout, and that way you won't be so tempted to overeat because it's delicious. And then portion out your snacks on a bowl and a plate, or measure them and count them rather than just having the bowl or the bag and eating right out of it kind of thing. Okay. Keep nutritious snacks on hand. Okay. And hide less healthy snacks out of sight. For me, I need to keep the unhealthy snacks out of my house. I have to have them out of my house because if they're in the house, I will eat them. It's hard for me to control myself. So if they're not in the house, I am great. And if I want something, I have to get up and go and get it, which is fine. Okay, distractions. So when you're eating, you want to be fully involved in your eating. You don't want to be distracted. How many of us multitask when we're eating? Okay, you sit at your desk and you do your work while you eat, or you're eating while you're driving, which you're not supposed to do anymore, or you're just picking away while you're getting your kids ready, right? Try to take the time and sit down and eat. Be mindful. Enjoy the food that you're eating, okay? Take your time. I know in the military, you guys are kind of trained to eat fast at the mess and stuff like that when you're in basic training. But right now is a perfect time to sit and enjoy your meals. Take a bite, put your fork down, think of all the flavors that you're eating, grab a drink of water to wash it down, and then pick up your fork rather than just shoveling it in bite after bite after bite. and then really enjoy it. Taste it. Taste your food. How many times do we sit in front of the TV and we're eating our munchies, and next thing you know, the bag is gone and you don't remember eating the whole bag? Okay. Plan for risky situations. Okay. You have a celebration in an hour or two for somebody's retirement. Okay. And you know that there's going to be finger foods there and barbecues and ribs and beer. Okay. And you want to go, but you don't know what to do. Right? You want to go, but you don't want to give in into the temptation. Right? So there's a lot of triggers there. Take the time. Make a plan on what you can do to help with the triggers. Maybe eat beforehand so you're not so hungry. Bring your own snacks with you. Move away from the food table if possible. Instead of hanging around and talking around the food, go somewhere else. Okay? If you're eating your meat and something like that in the barbecue, savor it. Enjoy it. Okay? And start with the healthy options first. Go for the veggies. Go for the fruit instead of the donuts and the crackers and stuff like that. Little tips. Remember, when you're making these changes, you're not going to want to make these changes all at once. Pick something that is manageable and make baby steps. Small changes lead you to big results. Okay, I'm almost done. Thank you for staying with me. Intuitive eating. Have you heard of that? There's two attitudes that people can adopt. Okay, body acceptance and dieting is harmful, right? And learn not to eat for emotional reasons and for environmental reasons. Learn to interpret your body signals. Okay, learn. Become aware with your body and learn how when your body's telling you you're full, when you're hungry, right? How many times do we eat? Let's think of a turkey dinner, for example. We're eating a turkey dinner at Thanksgiving, and then we're so full that we kind of unbutton our pants and we lay on the couch and you feel sick. That's overeating. And then you have the other extreme where it's been so long since you've eaten and you're so hungry. Your stomach is growling constantly. You're getting headaches. You're grouchy, right? That's the opposite. So typically you don't want to be at either end. You don't want to be starving and you don't want to be so full that you're feeling sick. You want to stop until you're satisfied. And it's up to you to figure out what that is. I can't tell you. You need to become aware, in tune with your body. Yeah. So it's interesting. So by eating slow and by taking your time and by being mindful, it gives your body a chance to say, hey, I'm full. It takes about 20 minutes before your brain recognizes that your body has had energy, fuel. And so if you're one of those people that's eating 2 plates of food within 20 minutes, and then later on, you're just like, oh, I shouldn't have had that second plate. That's what's going on. Okay. Don't attempt fate. Stay in charge. Plan ahead. Okay. Make sure you get that balanced diet. Exercise regularly. Exercise doesn't have to be hardcore all the time. It's a variety. You want it to be a variety, from high impact to low impact to stretching to muscular. Make sure you get enough sleep. If you're not getting enough sleep because of what's going on and stress, talk to someone. Okay. And be aware of what you eat. Okay. Stop putting stuff in your mouth without thinking of what it contains, about the fat, the salt, and the sugar content. Read your labels. Know what you're putting into your body. So I have a little exercise here. So as I mentioned, I wanted you guys to get a piece of chocolate. If you don't have one, then find something that you like. That's a treat for you. Grab it. And we're going to do a little exercise here of mindful eating before we finish. So I'm trying to open up this box. I asked my husband to pick up some chocolate for this exercise. This is what he came up with. Hopefully, I don't eat them all. No, I won't. I won't eat them all. But I'm going to open it. I can. And I'm going to grab one. Okay. There's my camera. That's my piece of chocolate. So before when I would just sit here and eat this chocolate and just eat it as I feel, right? Whether I'm watching TV or driving or whatever it may be, just looking for a sweet tooth. But what we're going to do here, this little piece of chocolate, we're going to eat it slowly and mindfully. Rather than just shoving it in the mouth, we're going to eat it in 3 different bites. So if you have your chocolate, grab it, get ready. I want you to first smell it. It smells good. It smells like chocolate. Okay. So as you're smelling it, you're sending signals to the brain. You may even start to saliva a bit. I want you to close your eyes and take a little nibble. Okay? Don't crunch it. Just suck on it. Swish it to your left cheek. Notice it melt in your mouth. Swish it to the other side. And once it's melted, clean it up. Grab a drink of water. Second bite. Just let it melt. Swish it around. Notice how satisfying it is. Pay attention to how sweet it is. My last bite right here. Put it up the roof of your mouth. Under your tongue. Nice and slow. Now, that one chocolate took me almost 2 minutes to eat. Before, instead of just throwing it in my mouth, chewing it up, and grabbing for another one. By eating mindfully, it's going to help you control your portion size. Okay? It's going to make you feel more satisfied with the chocolate that you just ate rather than going for more and more and more. It takes time. It takes practice. But you got it. Try it. Try it with your kids. Try it with your wife or your husband or your parents. And to end, things to remember when you're reading your food label, and I'm going to have this on the website, posted on the website. When you're reading your labels, keep in mind your 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, what is that? When you're looking at something that's healthy, for example, for cereal, snacks, and grains, look for something that has 2 grams of saturated fat or less, 3 grams of total fat or less, 4 grams of fiber or more, and 5 grams of sugar or less. If your cereals, your snacks, and your grains are kind of following that guideline, that will be considered a healthy choice. Okay? That concludes my presentation for you today. Thank you for listening. Please do not hesitate to contact me at 14winghpspecialist@gmail.com for any questions, or you can email the Facebook here. We're here for you. We're here to help. We have a bunch of resources and topics that we can talk about. Reach out. We're here for you. All right. And if you have a specific topic that you want us to talk about, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Stay safe, get outside, it's nice, and enjoy your day. Healthy eating, be mindful, and eat that balance. There's a time and place for your snacks, I guess, your treats, but not every day. There's an 80 to 20% rule or a 90 to 10% rule, meaning 80% of the time, 90% of the time, 5 days a week, you're eating your balanced meal. And then 1 or 2 days a week, you allow yourself to have that pizza, that beer, that burger, whatever your treat may be. Take care. Enjoy. Stay in touch. I'm out.